Hello, I'm Chris. Welcome back to Marine Corner. Hope you're having a good year so far. It's been a minute since I've filmed and I want to apologise for that, but it has been a really study heavy year. I've had 5 exams this year so far. I've got my next one in early July, so that'll be 6 in 7 months. And then probably another one in August, September, and then November the next one, and then 4 left then after that. But yeah, I've really struggled with it. When I've had time to be able to film, I've studied, and when I've had time to study, or when I've had other time to film, I've been reading. So I've got quite a lot of books read this year. I want to do a video of all the books I've read so far this year at the end of June. I'm hoping it'll be, it's around 50 books so far, but I am making my way through a few at the minute as well, which I'm going to talk about a bit in a minute. But yeah, so I've just been doing exams, I've spent time with my son and stuff, just the usual stuff really. I have trying to learn a new hobby, so I have a guitar. It's an Ibanez. It's nothing, I don't know, it's nothing fancy, but it wasn't expensive. It probably was. It probably is, but it was only £150. It's not like you can go crazy for guitars, and I had it around, so this last week I've just been playing that. I've also recently got some speakers. I don't know if you can see. Well, it's this one you can see in the camera, sorry. So I can listen to music and sit in this what I call my reading chair, and I can listen to music and I can read. So that's what I've been doing. I've been reading from this chair, studying a lot. Like, I was going to study tonight, but I think I'm just going to do an hour in the morning of what I was going to do tonight, so I can film this, take some time to film. But yeah, that's why I've just been literally studying, but you don't, that exam I passed in January, it was like last chance saloon. I had to pass. It was my 8th attempt. I had a break in studying because I just lost my head. I was putting the hours in, I wasn't getting the result, and then by some miracle, I literally just passed by the pass mark. It's not how you cross the line, it's crossing the line. And yeah, I think I should be very proud of myself, to be honest with you. Self-doubt's something I struggle with a lot, and I do try and talk a bit on mental health on my channel a bit, because I feel like it's something I suffer with more than I realised. But yeah, and then the next one was like, the one in February was like 3 hours, which was like all written, which was really hard work, but it was in Stockport, so then I managed to find a nice bookshop that I've been back to a couple of times now and bought quite a number of books from. I do like trying to support small bookshops. And then the other one I failed first attempt and then passed, and then this one I've just failed. I need to retake, so that's my studying. Other than that, not really been up to much, to be honest with you. Like I said, playing guitar has been something I've been doing recently, more so recently than like when I come home. It's been really cool just to start playing and forget about anything else and forget about work. And I'm not any good. I'm trying to just change chords at the minute and progress from there. It's something I've wanted to do for a while and kept thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and now I've got it on a stand and stuff, and it's just next to this chair. It's just sit and just strum a bit. So that's that really. So yeah, I don't know what else to really talk about. I didn't really plan this video ahead. I just thought I want to talk about a few things, and where I've been's one of them. I don't know what else to say really. My son's 10 now, so that makes me feel old. I'm 39 in August, which I keep trying to get away with 36, but no, nobody's listening to that one. I had my beard trimmed today, but I'm not really keen on. It's not as neat as they usually do it. So yeah, I forgot what else I was going to say. I've been trying to build a bit of a reading plan. I've got a lot of books, and it's kind of like I'm wanting to reduce what's on my shelves. So I was like, well, what about if I use like AI to sort of create a like reading plan? So these are the books I want to read. So I'm reading some off my unread shelves. How do they flow together? And then it's sort of like, oh well, and then it's kind of progressed into more books I don't own, but then I'm buying them books to read. But I do think it's been really interesting, and I think it's really altered my reading. To be honest with you, I mean, I'm only like 3 or 4 books in, but I think I'm seeing things more. Feel like I'm reading more in depth, and then when I'm like going back to AI and saying this is what I'm seeing in this book, and it's coming back with stuff, and it's making sense what I'm reading more, and I think I'm taking that time to think about it, or why is this book interlinking with that one, and so on and so forth. And I think it's really good. You might hear my dog sniffing. So it's really good. It's just really helped. I think it's been really interesting. So I've got like 12 books I was going to talk about, although I don't have ones on the way. I was hoping it had been here today, but it's not. It might be here tomorrow now, probably after this. So yeah, I've basically told it a load of books I've got. What order these go in? Give me a load of books. Right, what's like missing? You know, what's not represented, like, and stuff. So come on. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Really, I think it's really interesting though, because I don't know if you can see Reggie. So yeah, so I'm just going to go through that really. So sorry, a bit distracted with the dog. So the first book I started off with was The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. I had this on my shelves for a while. I think it was half price when I got it, and from Waterstones. I've wanted to read it for ages, and it was a really interesting book. It was like about a butler, and he works in a house, and then he went to see. It was about like him remembering stuff that happened previously. As you read through the novel, and it goes backwards and forwards from previous to current day, and then it's quite interesting because he talks about the way a butler should be, and it's a lot more ambiguous than what I think you realise. There's more to it than what's in the actual book. It's like you see what he's thinking, but he doesn't fully explain himself. He's explained his feelings. It's kind of said but not said. And it was really interesting that way. And it just, I don't know, trying to like get a list together of books that flow, or I think it's really helping my reading. Like before I'd picked this up and then I might have read something completely different to it, so it wouldn't have any cohesive kind of carrying on, you know what I mean? It'll just be oh well, I'm reading this and then I'm going to read whatever I'm reading, and then it's like, oh well, why is that? There's no interlink with it. So that was my first one. I really enjoyed that. And then I carried on with so this is another book I've had on my shelves for a while. This is Truman Capote in Cold Blood. This is kind of like a bit like well, it's based on true events, but it's like a bit of a retelling sort of thing, like a novelization sort of thing, which is really interesting, to be honest with you. Although it is violent, but I found it interesting because you're kind of thinking about it. It kind of flows with the other one in the way it's like you're reading about it and it's quite hard to read in a way, and there's like, I don't know, it kind of, because it's based on true events and stuff and it's novelized, I don't know, like there's conversations and stuff I presume are made up, but it's really quite interesting, and you can see like this followed on from that in some aspects of like how kind of bleak it was, in like it was so much was said but unsaid kind of thing, but also deeper in sort of feeling, because it was kind of more shown than, like, this is more shown, whereas I feel like the other one's more told. But yeah, I really enjoyed this as well. So that's that. And then I started reading some Raymond Carver. I've never read any Raymond Carver, but it mentioned what we talk about when we talk about love. Well, I love a vintage red spine, as you can see. I've got my vintage red spines up there. So this one I found really interesting. This again, I'm only reading 2 stories a time every time I finish a novel in my collection. In the 12 book collection. So with this one, it is like the first 2 stories were very much what are you feeling in these books. The second 2 stories were more, you could tell what they were thinking. It was more character based, but it was still untold. There were still gaps in what you was reading, but it was just really interesting how the guy wrote the stories. I'd never read any Raymond Carver before, but I'm looking forward to reading more of him. Excuse me. And then next up, I read something completely different, very plot based, very quick paced, quite snappy reading. I'd say pretty snappy dialogue as well, but I do believe that people think another author on this list is a bit more, his dialogue is like really good, but this is The Maltese Falcon by Dashiell Hammett. I've had this on my shelf also for a long time and not read it, so I was interested to read this, because I wanted to read it, and I like noir, but this book, I mean, it's a crime novel. It's a noir novel. It is like the late 19. It was written in it was published in like a magazine in 1929 and in book format in 1930. So yeah, it's like nearly 100 years old. So you can tell I'm very current on this channel. So with this book, I really enjoyed it, but like you're reading it and it's so fast paced and it throws you, and you just don't expect, like the first couple of chapters I was like, wow, this is great. This is like, you wouldn't probably get it nowadays. I don't think not the language of it, just how fast paced it was, and the plot twists in it are really good and stuff like that. And like the first bit you're not expecting, and it's like, wow. It seems like pretty straightforward what's happened, and no, it's not. But yeah, I'd recommend this if you're into like crime or noir. But it's more like, it's kind of like you're reading from, I'd say the way my books flow, I'd say this one's like, he's very much, Sam Spade is the main character. He's very much, I think that's protagonist, isn't it? When the main characters. So yeah, the protagonist in the book, he very much like controls the novel. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants. And he knows how to get it, which is quite interesting, which is completely different to the book I'm currently reading at the minute, which I'm going to talk about now. So that one was Dashiell Hammett's The Maltese Falcon. Now, I'm currently reading The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I've never read any Sylvia Plath. This one got thrown on the list, and I was like, well, why does this one fit? And it's like, it's kind of like, it's very much, it's hard to read. She seems to suffer, the protagonist in this is Esther Greenwood, and she seems to suffer from anxiety, and it's just hard. I don't know, like, I've never felt like reading a book before where I felt like this is hard to read, and but she's like, whereas Sam Spade was in control, Esther seems more out of control, like a bit of an outsider, doesn't quite fit in, and it's very thought-provoking. There's a lot of like interesting metaphors that come up throughout the book, and I just think, like, I've read 4 chapters and I was like, I think the first 3 I was like, I've got to put this down, I need a break. And then I read chapter 4 and I wanted to carry on, and then I was at work and didn't get a chance to read anymore because my lunch was over. So, and I was just I'm just taking my time more with this than I've ever took. And I also just want to show quickly my lovely bookmark. It's a giraffe eating some flowers, if you can't see. I never used to use bookmarks. I got a nice bookmark years ago. I was like, I'm going to treat myself to, I like reading, I'm going to treat myself to a nice bookmark. Bought it, and my son scrunched it up on me. And ever since then I went, right, I just remember the page. And then I got somebody at work went, oh, you can't do that. So then now, he gave me some bookmarks, and then I've got this one, which I think's my favourite bookmark I've had. So yeah, although I still use other book, like I've still got, just to quickly go off on a tangent, because I've got like different bookmarks in different books I'm currently reading, because I'm reading that and that as well. But I'm going to read more of that when I finish Bell Jar. I don't want to mess my reading up too much. And then I kind of wanted to grow this list. I didn't want to just have it like, oh, this is what you should read. I wanted to throw in a few extra books here and there. So I wanted it like, it's about 180 books, which is a lot, but it was just interesting how they flow together. And I think like, so then I was like, well, I also want to add in some reread books because I like rereading. Why not? So then I was like, well, what could I read? And then I was like, listening to a bit of like Midwest emo. It's something I've just stumbled across and started listening to a bit more of. And I was like, what sort of books go well with it? And it mentioned 2 books. The first one it mentioned is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, I'm sorry. But it's an epistolary novel, which means it's written in letters, if that's not something you've heard of. But it's really interesting. It's quite dark. He's writing letters. You never really know who he's writing them to. I don't know if that's a spoiler or not. But it's a book I've read before, but it's been a while, and it kind of said this is a good book if you like Midwest emo. And so I've been listening to that, and then it mentioned this, and I was like, oh, I've got that. I want to add I'm going to add 2 rereads to it, so that's why I picked this one up. But it's been a while, so I'm looking forward to reading this. But I think again, this one's probably along the lines of Bell Jar as well. But I don't know if I think it's probably not quite as ambiguous as Plath. I think Plath really gives the book a feeling that I can't describe really. And then I've got a couple of different books completely. I've never read this. This one's another one I've had for a long time. This is The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. I don't really know too much about this at all. I mean, I probably read the back of it when I got it, but I have been trying to just read the books without knowing anything about it. Like, I've not read the back of The Bell Jar, I didn't read the back of Maltese Falcon, I didn't read the back of any of them so far, so I'm gonna carry on with that, and I'm just gonna see what comes out of what I'm reading. I think it's helping me concentrate more on the actual book as well, which has been really interesting. So yeah, so that's The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. Sci-fi, I think it's I'm not sure what sort of sci-fi it is without reading the back, and I don't really want to spoil it, but it's one I wanted to read for a while, so I've got that. And then this is also a reread, but it kind of I kind of got this one added in because I fancied reading it, and I think it was a better fit than the one I had by Kurt Vonnegut, which was Sirens of Titan, which I'll probably add further down the list. But this is Slaughterhouse 5. This is kind of like a bit like time jumpy, but it's really interesting. It's also a bit about Dresden as well, the firebombing of Dresden, because Kurt Vonnegut was there, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like I suppose it's science fiction, sort of speculative, but then I think it's deeper than that as well. And you just see how I think the more I read these novels, I think the more I'll understand why they kind of fit together. And then another one, due to the Midwest emo kind of thing, it threw out Haruki Murakami's Norwegian Wood. Now I know Haruki Murakami is an author that's probably frowned upon, but I really enjoyed this book. I've read it a couple of times. I'm not saying it's the best book ever or anything like that, because I think that's quite subjective, and I don't think it's the best book I've ever read, but it's one I've enjoyed a couple of times. And I think it does float on that like mental health kind of anxiety sort of feeling that you get in The Bell Jar and The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and I think even The Remains of the Day to some respect with regards to Butler as well. But yeah, so I'm going to reread Norwegian Wood. And then I've got one that's completely different, but I've seen it in a charity shop. I think it was like £4 for £1 or something like that, but I only fancied 2 books, and this was one of them. And I've seen, my mate got me the film on VHS years ago when I was 18, I think, for some reason. And that's The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. I've not read this before, but I'm intrigued by it. I think it goes more in depth with regards to the characters and things like that, so I think it'd be quite interesting from that aspect, but I imagine it'll still have some kind of foreboding to it as well. But yeah, I'm really intrigued by it. It's kind of the one I want on the list. I wanted to read more, but as I read books and I'm like, oh, there's something here in this, and I think this will then flow into that one, and that's that. So yeah. And then I think I got that in February, so I've had that like 4 months, so that's a long time for me. Well, I'm trying to reduce the amount of time I have unread books. And then next up I also have The Stranger, although my copy says The Outsider by Albert Camus. This one's quite an interesting novel. It opens up it's quite well known for the way it opens up about the character's mother. But yeah, it's just another interesting one. It's been a while since I've read it, so I'm trying to, within this list, I'm trying to add books I've not read for a while. Hence, like, I don't know how long it is, but since I've read Slaughterhouse 5, but it's been a while. And then I've got things I want to reread, like Brave New World and what's that other book I was thinking of? The Collector by John Fowles, The Island by Aldous Huxley, just things like that, books I've not read for a while, or books I've read as well recently. So that's Albert Camus. The Stranger. And then the last one on the list is of the 12. Is it 12? Yeah, it's 12, the first list. So this is J.G. Ballard's High Rise. I haven't read any J.G. Ballard. I just wondered if there was anything. This is from a charity shop as well, but I just wondered if it had like a date when the charity shop received it, but it doesn't seem to. But this one's I've wanted to read for a while, J.G. Ballard. I think I have an autobiography or something like that he wrote that I want to read, but I thought I need to read something by him first, or the novels I own. So I thought I mentioned this one that I wanted to read, and it seems to go in this pile, so I've stuck with that. So that's 10 books there that I want to get to. But then I kind of then said that I wanted to add in like 2 more books as a kind of a finishing off of what them 10 books, and I got 2 books, and I thought, so this one I want to read. I've had this one a while as well that I want to read, so I can reduce my unread shelf. This is Raymond Chandler, The Big Sleep. This is like Dashiell Hammett, crime, noir. But I think, from what I know, his dialogue is supposed to be a bit more snappy, a bit more quirky, not quirky, like quick. But he's like, it's his Philip Marlowe series. I wanted to read this for a while, so I thought I'd give this a go. And it adds, I kind of wanted something like the bridge books, I call them, between this phase and the next phase, because it's all in phases, my book list. I kind of wanted to have something that had some kind of aspect to one of the 10 books I already had, and then another one that has another aspect of it. So this one is the first one I want to read, and then the next one I wanted to read was going to be, what's it called? Rock Springs by, I can't remember the author's name now. No, it's got, Richard Ford. So that kind of goes along with the Carver, Raymond Carver, and that goes together in that. But as I get further on, so I'm going to read all these, and then I'm going to move on to phase 2 of my reading list, and then phase 3. But what I want to do with phase 3 is I want to revisit 2 of these books out of this, not the bridge, not these books, not the reread books, because it's already a reread, but like one of the other 10. So like for instance the Bell Jar, or like, I don't know, the Bell Jar or The Outsider maybe, or High Rise, something that I've only read this time as a reread, so then it kind of like solidified what it is about that book. It was just something I fancied doing, and it seemed like a good idea to revisit some of these books and stuff, and see how they hit differently as I grow as a reader in this process I'm now doing. So yeah, that's that. And I also so that's what I'm reading at the minute. But like I said, I do want to do a full list of everything I've read this year so far. I do have a couple of notepads that I plan on doing some writing in. That's another thing I wanted to do tonight, but I don't think I'm going to get a chance now. But it's something I'm going to plan on starting in the coming weeks as a bit of a rebite from, I don't know, something a bit different. Like, cause, I mean, it's all right playing the guitar, but I don't want to play that like late at night when neighbours and stuff. So when I'm not doing that, I could be doing some writing or reading. So that's my plan. Anyway, I'm going to leave that here, but I will be back soon in the next video, and I'll catch up what I've read this year so far in that one, unless I film something before then. Anyway, I'll speak to you soon. Bye.